Hello.
There we are.
We're
Hello,
ready to
nerds,
rock.
and welcome back to Regrettable Reviews. Today we're going to watch the 1989-1990 classic Robot Goths.
I have some beef.
I am so sorry that you have beef, because this is a pretty much perfect movie, which I'm going to start here in the background here real quick.
No.
So what's your beef? Let's just hit it. Go. Tell me.
God, the sexism.
Oh, yeah, no.
I hate it. I hate the sexism, and as a person with a massive appreciation for Russian culture, I'm so fucking sick of Russia bad.
Hey, technically it's not just Russia bad. It's the confederation of bad guys are bad.
And
they
it's-
just have to be led by Russia.
And, well, that's the thing, because this, like, the Soviet Union still existed when this was made, so it was, Slavic bad.
Yeah, Slavic bad. Eastern European bad.
Which is just, current political unpleasantness aside, I'm so fucking tired of it.
It's definitely a trope, but you kind of accept that when you're watching a movie from that time frame, you know?
I know.
You accept that
I'm
they're
so
going to have the lazy way out.
I'm so tired of it.
German's bad if it's, either made in the 40s or set in the 40s.
What was that German comedian who was on Conan recently? He was like, "Oh, aren't you like mad that like Germany's always the bad guy in movies?" He goes, "No. Do you know why? Have you Wikipedia Germany history lately?" It's like, on the one hand, I do kind of get it. Some not so great things happened in the Soviet Union. However, we've also done a shit ton of not so great things,
Hey.
and clearly we are the ones making the movies.
That's what
But
I was
like,
going to say.
come on, man.
Ba-dum.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
I'm just tired of it.
Yeah, I'm sure that in, Russian cinema, America's the bad guys. Chinese cinema, America's the bad guys. I don't know,
Kind of,
actually.
sort of. I have an interest in Soviet cinema, but I have not delved as deep as I would like to yet. So, I have many things on my watch list. I'll get back to
Give it a
you
go.
with a more well-rounded answer at a later date.
Yeah. The only full Russian film I think I've ever seen is Wolfhound.
I haven't seen that.
a
I've
fantasy.
seen Stalker. Love that movie. I watched the 7-hour Soviet version of War and Peace in one sitting and loved every second of it.
As you should.
I've seen Leviathan. That was really depressing.
I don't know any of these.
Next big watch is probably Come and See, which is also just horrific. I've heard.
Okay.
So.
Just like terribly.
Bleak realism.
Okay. All
But
right.
yeah, no, if you're looking for a movie that had the literal entire weight of the public, state-owned Soviet film industry thrown behind it, Sergei Bondarchuk's War and Peace.
Okay. I'll consider that.
They wound up like pioneering the technology that we now use to film football games with like the camera on a wire thing, trying to film I think it's the Battle of Borodino in like the Napoleonic Wars that Russia was involved in back in like the Imperial era. It's fucking wild. It's like the biggest like scope film I've ever seen in my fucking life.
Fair enough.
So highly recommend, but I also understand that sounds like a horrible time to a lot of people.
It's just a lot of time investment,
It is technically broken up into like 4 separate films, but I was watching it with my also big film nerd boyfriend. We were just like, fuck it, we got nothing to do today. All at once.
Oh, here's about to come some of your blatant sexism as soon as he sees the girl.
Oh my god, I know. I hate it.
There's what? Is there really only 2 girls in this film?
2 women.
2 women. Why did I say girls?
Well, no, there's 3 women in this entire movie.
Who's the third?
His like brother's wife. Or
Oh
whatever.
my gosh! Why did I forget about the wife? Yeah.
Yeah, no.
And she's probably the most real and relatable character of all the women in this
Which,
movie.
like, even then, so much about this is, like, gross.
Again,
Although, I gotta say, I will give them credit for the bots. It is giving both Harryhausen and the, like, OG Star Wars miniatures at the same time.
Okay, yeah, I definitely get that. And they went with a miniatures instead of a CGI
Which,
move.
like, I'm here for it.
Totally pro on the practical effect, yeah.
Also, they're fighting over Alaska, like in Fallout.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's why it makes sense that Russia's the bad guy.
Which, and, like, I get it. Again, Cold War, Russia wants Alaska back. Oh, no. That's how you get your plot here, but...
Yeah. I don't know. The entire premise of this movie, where I told you when we were picking this movie, like Rollerball, where there's no more war, all of the world's problems are settled with a sport.
Yeah.
The difference between Rollerball and this is that they're giant robots fighting, and I am so here for that.
Here's the thing. I love giant robots fighting. I would describe this, however, as shitty American Cold War Evangelion.
Okay. You're not wrong. I don't like it, but you're not wrong.
Also, here's some other shit I hated. She'll never be a jock. Get fucked. Throwing the genetically engineered soldiers into the mix, not particularly surprising. Direct deposit?
Oh, that whole thing.
Disgusting.
Yes. She's asking for the samples, and he goes, samples of what? And it's like, come on.
Like,
don't make her say it. Dr. Lovejuice doesn't want to tell you how to give her the DNA.
But yeah, it's like, oh, can I make a direct deposit? Disgusting.
I was like, dang, man. I wish the doctor had been like, okay. And like invited him over.
There you go. Yeah, this is
for those that haven't
nasty.
seen it, she's an old woman.
I hate it. And then, of course, is like, his fucking Texas...
What's with the stereotypical Texan, you?
Yeah, by the way, good thing that she throws the towel at him. Like,
at least she stood up for herself. Yeah.
But, like, was that really necessary?
Why is the genetically altered perfect human woman... How do I say it without it sounding misogynistic or chauvinistic? She is boyish. There's not a lot of traditionally feminine features to her.
Yeah.
But to be fair, most of the guys are that way too. They're sort of gender neutral.
So I think there's two potential readings of this. One, like, I'm going to put on my, like, actual college feminist helmet for 2 seconds here. Yeah. One potential reading of it is the not so good one that a woman is only, it's only good to be like men.
Mm-hmm. Like, that's my take.
That a woman who is traditionally feminine in any way, shape, or form, be that, makeup or anything that's considered traditionally feminine and desirable. So, like...
down to longer hair.
Yeah, so, like, long blonde hair, makeup, like, curvy, that kind of thing going on. A woman can only be proficient in a sort of quote-unquote men's world like the one that is created here if she eschews all of those sort of trappings of femininity, of attractiveness,
right.
which have their own baggage with them.
Oh, yeah.
Or...
it's just a weird choice.
It's a very weird choice. Or the slightly more charitable potential reading of it is that... is the subversion of traditional beauty standards of the time. Because this was made in the 80s, which, like... she's not necessarily hitting a lot of the boxes that, like, a standard model in the 80s might have been. Like, again, short hair, kind of slim build. So there's two potential readings of it, and...
neither's great, though.
Neither is ideal, but...
Oh, can we talk about the fact that his name is Achilles in this movie, the main pilot, and his weakness is his knee?
Yeah.
Which also never comes up. Or did I forget that? No, right?
I feel like here's the thing. I watched this literally today.
I rewatched it today. I've seen this multiple times in the past.
Yeah. Oh, also, this guy is doing a fucking horrible Russian accent.
Oh, yeah. Paul.
Do a better job.
Paul Costco or whatever the hell his name is.
And he's fucking German.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's like Canadian German.
Yeah. It's not a good Russian accent, but it passes. Again, in this day and age, it's enough of an Eastern European or
it bothers me. It bothers me a lot.
Slavic accent.
It's also just me. Also, Jeffrey Combs, love that guy.
Oh, I'm pretty sure he comes up in one of my things that I had written down. Maybe not.
Oh God, when we talked about Reanimator on our stream, we had so much fucking fun.
Oh yeah, that's definitely
Reanimator. Must a film be good? Is it not enough for a film to be campy, overdramatic, and deeply homosexual?
Yeah, Stuart Gordon, the writer and director for this, did that. He did
Bride of Reanimator too.
Did he?
I believe so.
Oh, maybe.
Which is not as good as Reanimator, shocker, but there's some cool practicals in it. I would say it's worth your time.
His stance on the movies he makes are like that they're defensible. Every choice he makes is defensible. So H.P. Lovecraft fans complain that there's overt sexuality and nudity in his movies, and he's like, if you read the novels,
Yeah.
they're very sexual. I just don't have words to show that to you, so I show you boobs.
Yeah, and there's also like
Deal
an
with
inherent body horror to so much of Lovecraft's work that if you're talking about the human body, you're eventually going to get there.
Yeah, I mean, like, you gotta... It helps to see, oh, look at this beautiful natural form, and oh my god, it's been destroyed.
You know, flipped inside out.
Yeah.
But yeah. I will say these mech suits are pretty cool. I appreciate the work that went into them. Although, the thing that made me laugh, not the fucking AV jacks on the suit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But also an excellent example of working with what is available to you at the time.
Yeah.
And this is also another movie with a lot of interesting examples of like taking technology that was available at the time and extrapolating from then so that you're not losing the audience completely. Because like, yeah, it's all this crazy futuristic stuff, but some of it still has an antenna, for example.
Right. It seems realistic. That,
Yeah,
you know,
realistic
it's not
at the time
so,
from where they
like
were
the ass
at the
pat,
time.
by the way.
Yeah, which I think is so funny that I'm
This random
getting
candy striper here, just...
way ahead of myself here, but they're like, oh, he didn't respond to my slapping his ass in the same way. I know that's not my guy.
Oh, yeah, later when she's pretending to be him. Yes. That's a really good point. I also like that they use crash and burn instead of break a leg.
I did like that.
It's a nice touch, and they don't tell you outright.
Yeah.
They
Like,
come up a little bit later where someone says good luck. It's not good luck to say good luck. They want to make sure you got the joke and the reference, but...
But, like, yeah. I will say, though, when... Back in the scene with, like, the crowd, the clothing choices to telegraph future here are very odd.
Yeah, I mean...
It's like, there's, like, some, like, fucking, like, surf hats, like, as in SERF. Like,
Yes.
fucking medieval surf
Very,
vibes.
yeah, very fiefdom.
The mask thing was oddly prescient.
So that's... I had made a note, like, the fact that they're all wearing masks is oddly ominous for me.
Although, but, I mean...
The end of the world does feel like people would be wearing masks.
But even before that, like, we're headed down, in my humble opinion, a not so great path environmentally. So, and that's been apparent for a while now. So I don't think it's necessary. Like, odd coincidence of the recent past aside, I don't think it's the weirdest choice to be like, things might be even more polluted in the future.
Yeah.
And people might have to do something about that. Like,
Well, in this case, it's a nuclear holocaust that causes it, but, you know.
So.
Also not too unrealistic, I'm just saying. Oh, God.
Try not to think about it too much.
I was just thinking of something I forgot. Oh, what is it with Alexander, the Russian pilot guy, and he just gets away with everything he does?
That's a thing that, like, that I came up
The
with.
opening scene, he stomps on a dude after they say,
murders
step down.
Yeah,
It's
like-
just straight up murder.
How is he allowed to keep fighting? And, like, clearly there's rules. There's refs. How is he allowed to just keep fighting if he just continually fucking murders people?
He just ignores the rules so he can kill the opponent. That's the other thing I thought about while I was watching this movie for the umpteenth time. Who are the referees?
Yeah.
Are they, like, elected officials?
Is it Switzerland?
Oh my god, if they gave them Swiss accents, that would have been so
Here's
funny.
the thing, though. I don't know if I could immediately clock a Swiss accent.
It sounds just like either Germanic or
like,
maybe a tinge like French European.
I
definitely wouldn't sound.
No clue. Like, in my head, I am picturing, like,
The Swedish Chef.
not even that. I'm just picturing a sort of, like, a vague Scandinavian accent, and I don't even know if that's correct.
No, probably not.
What do I know? But, that would have been funny. I gotta say, the live spectators, what in the fuck?
Oh,
That's
so
just, that's an
do they
accident.
pay for that, or do they just get to do it because they signed waivers?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, again, it's an accident waiting to happen, and it fucking happens.
Yeah, he just kills 300 people. Well, okay, to be fair,
He was trying to save them.
trying to save them.
Which was an honorable thing to do.
but also a terrible way to save them is to stand in front of them when there's a flying fist of a giant
Yeah,
robot.
just,
coming
like,
at
smack it.
you. Right, grab
You're
it.
a giant robot.
Yeah. Do some giant robot things.
Yeah.
Why, by the way, did they go with bipedal robots? Is that part of, like, the rules is that they have to be these bipedal robots. Actually, no, because he has a 4-legged
'Cause
robot later.
I'm wondering if that has to, like...
Why is it not? I would just build. There's tracks on the legs. You see, there's tracks in the back of his
Yeah.
legs. Like he could turn it into a car or truck thing.
Which he does. But, like, I would assume that it's perhaps a little Evangelion in its approach, in that, like, you're like, so that you're moving... It moves with you. You don't have to think about it too much, like, oh, I gotta press this button to make XYZ number of legs do the right pivot.
I mean, I just think that more efficient would be a multi-tracked gigantic tank that's just 18 feet thick armor and a giant-ass cannon, and you just blast them and blast them and
And
blast
I'm sure
them.
it would be, but I would assume that there are rules, since we are made privy to some of them.
Yeah,
They're like,
very
oh,
few, but some.
you have this contract, it's this many fights, blah, blah, blah. So, like, there has to be some sort of, like...
I forgot that. The stands are reflective to protect them from the laser cannons and stuff.
Yeah, which I assumed...
That's smart.
It is smart. I assumed that it was also, like, perhaps a shield of sorts. Like, because when I first saw the stands, I was like, oh, that's a really dumb idea. Oh, wait, never mind, there's shields, so, like, they're protected. No.
I also like
Not
that he refers to them
nearly
as
as
bleacher bums.
Yeah, not nearly as protected as they should be. Because clearly, we have the technology to create these giant mech suits.
Right.
You could give them a little bit of armor.
Just a tinge.
Just a tiny bit.
I mean, even if they did, though, would they have thought to reinforce them enough for a whole-ass robot to fall on top?
Maybe
You know what
not
I
for
mean?
a whole ass robot to fall on top, but...
But if they had reinforced it better, maybe everyone would have been okay with the flying fist. It would have deflected off.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been so
And
bad.
he wouldn't have had to do that at all. Which, again, Alexander doesn't give a shit about the rules.
Yeah,
They deactivate the ranged attacks.
Which I did kind of like the detail of one, having a ref, of two, being like, okay, like, no more lasers, no more, like, projectile attacks. Because it avoids that sort of... what I can only describe as the kind of anime moment where it's like, oh my god, he's taken out all his weapons and he's still just fucking, like, whatever, like, again, Evangelion, just fucking wailing on some guy who has no weapons.
Yeah.
So, like, you avoid that. But again, if he's not going to play by the rules, what's the fucking point? And again, why is he still allowed to compete?
Yeah.
Why don't they have him, like, and the thing is, you don't necessarily have to get rid of this character either. He can break the rules and they're like, oh no, they're bringing in the even bigger, scarier Russian because this new recruit won't...
The Dolph Lundgren, yeah.
Yeah, won't play by the rules. Who, by the way, wasn't he Swedish?
Dolph Lundgren?
Yeah.
For all I fucking know, he could be. I don't know.
He wasn't Russian either.
But he just plays a famous Russian.
Yeah.
That's, I don't care.
And I mean, here's the thing. He did a better fucking job than this guy.
Well, yes. This guy didn't even try.
Did not try at all.
I don't even think they technically say he's Russian in this.
No, but, like, it's...
You can tell that's what he's going for.
what he's going for, especially with the the vodka thing.
Also, I was reading up, apparently Stuart Gordon wanted to cast JCVD for Achilles.
Which is so funny because when
That
I was
movie
watching
would
this
be so good.
when I was watching this with Kyle, he was like, "Oh, this guy is an off-brand Jean-Claude Van Damme."
He is for sure the dollar store, the wish.com JCVD.
But yeah. It's like,
He even does some stretches later to really prove it.
oh yeah. But yeah, I will say this is fucked. This whole thing.
I actually agree with the judge's ruling later. I don't agree with them not disqualifying him for having an unregistered ranged weapon. I do agree, though, that the purpose of like how he killed those people and what he was trying to do when it happened are irrelevant. They don't make you better at the sport.
Yeah.
The rules of the sports have nothing to do with that.
Like, yeah, it is fucked up, but they're not
The
wrong.
screams from that scene are used
They're
in a
from a
Nine Inch Nails
song,
song,
right?
He uses it. He samples it in The Becoming,
Slay.
which I never knew. I mean,
I feel
obviously
like
know
I
there's
could get
screams
it.
in that,
I
but-
feel like I could get into Nine Inch Nails.
Oh, you're not like you don't know a lot of Nine Inch Nails?
I don't know
or-
a shit ton of Nine Inch
Oh, okay.
Nails. What I have heard, I have enjoyed, and I'm like, if I sat down and listened to an album or two, I would probably get like really into this. I just haven't done it yet.
I mean, I feel like you missed out. Like if you had been like 5-6 years older and gotten into them when they were when he was popular, you know. I say they, but
that is
Trent Reznor, basically.
99% of my issue is that I wasn't allowed to like express myself or explore my self-expression as a child, so I have to do it now. And everyone's like, "Oh, it was better when this thing happened. It all sucks now." I'm like, okay, so I guess I'll just go fuck myself.
It
then.
doesn't suck now. It's just like it's a band that's past its prime. I'm
Oh,
not
I'm
saying
sure.
they suck. I'm just
sure.
saying past their prime.
And you know, ain't that the bitch of it? But that is an attitude that annoys me so much. Whenever like some 12-year-old is like, "Oh my god, I love Metallica," and then some old man is like, "Oh, they suck now." It's like, what do you want them to do about that? They're 12.
Also, did they say they only like the new Metallica? Did they say they only like the old Metallica? Explain your problem with someone saying they like the thing you like.
Yeah.
Please show me on the dolly where the bad man touched it.
Yeah, essentially. It's like, "Oh, it sucks now." It's like, okay, so do you just not want anyone to get into Metallica now and like appreciate their music?
Jean Maud Sam Clam.
Explain?
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Well, yeah.
It's the dollar store version.
Yeah.
It would be Jean Maud Sam Clam.
Okay.
I love it.
But yeah. Things that piss me off aside.
I mean, the movie overall, I like conceptually that we've evolved past war, and I think it's realistic
Yes.
that we replace it with violence.
Yeah, no, we are violent mammals. It's always
Right.
like even when we were still fucking monkeys, we were fucking wailing on each other.
Our actual sports are so aggressive that every year, every decade, we're changing the rules because we realize
'Cause
they're
someone fucking
brutalizing
died
people.
again.
Yeah. Oh no, somebody died. Change the rules. Or oh no, CTE. Change the rules.
Yeah. So like, it does make sense. I do like the concept. Like, okay, we've evolved past sending all of our, you know, previously all of our sons, now all of our sons and daughters to go fucking annihilate each other. We're gonna pick these couple specially trained people to take on this very risky thing, but it's way less fucking people than what was happening before.
Right. You lose a handful of people tops.
Yeah, so like, I would say that's better. Conceptually, I really am not against it. It falls into so many of the tropes that piss me off.
Yes, but does it fall into the tropes, or did this help define the tropes?
It probably did.
Because this is Stuart Gordon. This is 1989. Like, the tropes you're thinking of, how big were they at that point?
Well, not necessarily things like with like the mechs specifically, but like, oh, the one woman who's like doing the thing that like no woman's ever done before because girl can't do it.
But in a way, you have to look at that as someone trying to be inclusive.
They
you
are
know?
trying to be inclusive. It's just that like, why is this still where we are with the trying?
Yeah.
Like, even like, yes, this was like 1989, 1990, but like even then, there have been like other movies in the 70s where it's like, oh, the lone woman soldier or whatever.
Yeah,
It's like,
this movie aside, where we stand with what defines a strong female character,
can we
it means
not
they have
do
to
a
be
little?
they have to be murder hobos. That's what makes a strong female
Yeah.
character. But my favorite example of why that's not true, that they don't have to be, is Firefly, which you've never seen.
I've
You
not seen
have no strictly violent, aggressive action hero women. You have one who's a former soldier and does, have that role a little bit. One is a fancy prostitute.
Sly.
One is the ship's mechanic.
Love it.
And one is a psychopathic, not split personality, but almost that point, assassin 17-year-old girl. And they all fill this role. They feel like good, well-rounded characters. They stand alone. They're not Mary Sue's. They pass the
Bechdel test.
Thank you. I started jokingly calling it the Bechdel test. So now I can never remember it.
I got you. Don't worry.
Yeah, they pass it because they can have conversations and they don't center on their relationships to men or what they're doing for their men, and they further the plot line.
And that's the thing. I'm not gonna come out here and say that everything that doesn't pass the Bechdel test is garbage, because that's
Right.
objectively not true. I keep going back to this because it's so topical. Evangelion. Everyone's always fucking talking about Shinji, and yeah, of course they are. He's a 15-year-old boy piloting a giant death robot.
Yeah,
That's the main concern of the show.
I'd be talking about that.
I most certainly would be talking about that as well. It's not the individual examples of things not passing the Bechdel test, for example, that
It's
are the
the
problem. It's
overall
the, it's
problem
the
with it.
the sheer amount of, like, how hard you have to try to find something that does.
Right. Yeah,
It's kind
like
of
you
my
think about
hot
the shows
take.
you watch, and and you're like, do these characters feel like they would pass that test? And if they don't, does it feel like it was worth it?
Yeah.
I don't, But yeah, I don't know.
That's just.
So this movie particularly doesn't really pass that, because
Not even a
her
little
sole
bit.
purpose in this entire movie, despite the fact that they have no chemistry, is to be a driving force
So fucking forced.
for
I hated it.
him to redeem himself,
I hated
because she
every
couldn't
second
do
of
it,
it.
by the way. That's the other part that pisses me off. It's not just that he
No, that's like,
uses
they
her as an
can't-
arc to redeem
They
himself.
can't take the victory away from the fucking man. Like, he has to go back and redeem himself. She can't be the one to, like, save the day. It's so annoying.
Why couldn't it be the other way around? Why couldn't they have said, you did your 10, you're out, and then he...
And then he has to, like, coach her or whatever. Because
Or
he has all the
he goes to do it,
experience.
he fails, and she does the other part where she steps in and finishes the fight.
Shotsky.
I mean, these outfits are so crazy.
Yeah, a lot of
Oh,
jumpsuits.
Vanilla Ice just got turned down. I missed that.
Was this guy trying to, like, drink the alphabet or something?
Yes, that was the joke he was making. And he
Okay,
doesn't
cool.
know how to read, which I guess in a post-apocalyptic world, it wouldn't be a priority. But yeah, so he even forgets the order of the alphabet. So he goes, I just did H. What's next? G? No, that was before H. And then he goes,
Or is he just that
or he did
drunk?
I. So what comes next? G. No, that was before H. And then he goes, what's next? J. Okay, give me a julep.
Is he just that drunk?
He's so hammered. That's true. I mean, he's at I. He just did an I.
Yeah, which, by the way, I can't serve anyone who's drunk. This is a bar, my brother in Christ.
Well, that's a law today. They can't serve anyone who's visibly inebriated. That exists. They're culpable. If you get into a car and they served you past the point of inebriation, they're liable in the lawsuits that come from that.
That's insanity. I've seen so many people who are clearly...
Yeah, because nobody actually follows that rule.
Wow.
And also,
Learn something
the most
new every day.
unrealistic thing about this movie is that man is a superhero to them.
Yeah, no.
Nobody's turning him down for drinks.
Yeah, point taken.
He could throw up on the bar. That man would wipe it clean and serve him another drink because he's a hero.
Yeah. This whole thing, of course I would have let them die. What?
Oh, so they've got a touch of the tism. They've clearly been bred to have no remorse or feelings.
Which, like, in this world that they've set up for themselves, does that make it some sort of unfortunate sense? Kinda.
In reality, in the future,
Risen with the tism.
for far-reaching... Yeah, got some risen with the tism. Pow. But yeah, it would make far more sense, especially if you're talking about, like, long intergalactic space flights and things like that, to not be emotionally invested in anything.
Yeah.
Especially as it comes to repopulation and things like that. You can't go, but I'm in love with this person. Nope. I bred with this person. I should breed with this person now,
Yeah.
so that we have a better DNA base.
Yeah.
We cannot have these emotional attachments that prevent that.
Which, like, fucked up, but in a
If a single person
post-apocalyptic
dies,
world...
I can't throw away dozens of lives to save a single person because they matter to me.
Yeah.
No, that's not right. In the real far distant future, we'll be far more like Vulcans than
Yeah.
we will like humans.
Tangential. Do you know who is the definition of risen with the tism? Jeff Goldblum.
Oh man, yeah,
Jeff Goldblum. Like,
he could get it.
he can get it now.
That's what I'm saying. He
He's
can get
old
it.
enough to be my grandfather.
I mean, if I saw Jeff Goldblum in a bar, it could happen.
The fact that the phrase "no old man is safe" has been said to me. They're not wrong anyway. But yeah, on that tangent, like The Fly, for example, he is a bug-eyed weirdo in that movie, and still, oh my god.
Jurassic
Wood.
Park, he's injured in the back of a Jeep and just laying there with his shirt open, and they're driving, and it's just like, yeah, no,
Wood.
that man is absolutely,
Would.
10 out of 10. We might die. We should do it now.
Yeah, exactly. That all being said,
All movies need more Jeff Goldblum.
all movies need more Jeff Goldblum, and frankly, you can clip this. Make your movies hornier.
I mean, there's plenty of movies that are pretty horny.
But here's the thing: I'm so sick of, like, I've been seeing
traditional 80s like weird.
Oh,
It's a
yeah.
nightmare. So it's like
the shitty
Technicolor.
recycled footage.
Yeah.
There is some discourse I've been seeing lately that is pissing me the fuck off. It's like, oh, is there such thing as like a necessary sex scene in a movie?
There are necessary sex
There are
scenes.
necessary sex scenes. But everyone's like, oh, they're never necessary. Like 99% of the time, you don't need it. No. Make your movies hornier. Make them weirder. I'm so sick of this, like, this new, like, puritanism in the
It's
approach.
New Age Puritanism.
In the approach
Tickle
to
my ass
media.
with a feather here a little bit.
Exactly.
Precisely. But no, you should be making art for, at most, never make your art for a wide audience. Make your art for, at most, 30 freaks on AO3.
I mean,
And they will take it from there.
We used to get better films where they would take those chances, but they don't do it if it won't make money, and making money requires a wider audience. Which, okay, getting off topic.
Capitalism
completely.
being the root of all evil.
Of course, yeah. Well, this type of capitalism, at least. But we actually have access to wider audiences so much easier. So now is when we should be back to making experimental films.
That is the thing. Literally, this came up today in the car with Kyle. We were like, there's so much media to fill every possible niche. So why, in this time of being able to reach just about almost anybody in the fucking world who has internet access, why are we trying to make things that appeal to every single demographic at once? Again, 30 freaks on AO3. That is your audience.
Get a cult classic going.
Yes.
People will see it because other people said it was good.
Yeah.
And that's all you need to make a movie successful.
Yeah.
I mean,
oh, and here's some other sexist bullshit that they like cover him up the whole time that he's getting changed.
yeah, but we got to see her naked butt when she
but
showered
they got a
the dudes.
very clear ass shot. Also, I gotta say the co-ed showers is kind of giving Starship Troopers in that like it's this attempt to be like, oh, we're like a post like, you know, sexual segregation society where like no one really cares about these things, which like
in reality, that's
reality,
what would be necessary.
it would,
Doesn't
what would
mean
be
that it's
necessary.
realistic.
Doesn't necessarily mean that it's realistic. And frankly, like a sort of American Puritanism surrounding sex to begin with, so many other cultures have some form of just fucking hanging out naked, and
Yeah.
they're not weird about it. Like saunas, banyas, onsens.
Like, it's just a body.
Yeah, that's it.
Talk about like over sexualizing the way people dress. It's just a body.
Yeah, that's it. But like,
All right, so we're doing topless next episode.
fuck it.
I don't think we can do that on YouTube or Twitch.
No, I'm pretty sure that will get us.
Don't demonetize us.
Yeah, that will land us in trouble.
Oh, I forgot to put back on the Twitch on my phone.
Whoopsies. But other things. One, love that there's a slur for IVF babies.
Oh yeah, tubies. I
Yeah.
love it.
Kind of weird. Yeah, again, they let him cover up.
What also? What's with the level of modesty he has?
Yeah, why? Who cares?
But like,
Clearly,
especially
he
as
had
an
to go-
alpha male like he
Alpha male.
is.
And also, he had to go through the, like, I would assume, had to go through the, like, you know, the jock training or whatever, sharing a bunch of fucking showers.
Right.
Why are you weird about it now? Because it's a woman?
Who's taller than you?
Yeah, short king. No, I love short kings.
They both lied on their resumes or exaggerated in some way or another. He said he was 6 foot. She said she was 5'11". She's actually like 6 foot. He's like 5'10".
Whoopsies.
Which they didn't find out till they were filming, and they're like, "Hey, wait a minute."
Wait a second. Also, I'm gonna backtrack a little bit to her just fucking sitting there. Well,
Again.
he's like,
She's got to touch the tism.
Which,
She's
like-
just sitting there like waiting, like, I'll just patiently. I'm part robot. I'll just sit here and wait for the man to queue up.
yeah, this is all just, again, the co-ed shower is kind of giving Starship Troopers, which leads into another interesting discussion of quote-unquote make your films hornier. There's a fascinating article, or like an essay. It's called "Everyone is Beautiful and No One is Horny," and it points out that, like, everything is fucking sexless now. Like your Captain Americas, for example. Like, it's all so fucking devoid of any chemistry whatsoever, when technically these people are supposed to be like, they are like chemically engineered to be the hottest that humanity has ever been, or
Yeah.
like to conform to beauty standards the most perfectly that any human ever has. And yet, I watch, like, Moonstruck, for example.
I don't know that one.
Oh my god, Cher and Nicolas Cage.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
It's fucking incredible. Who, like, you know, Cher has, like, visible grays, and Nicolas Cage is Nicolas Cage before he got his fucking teeth fixed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's like 26 or something in that movie. He might have even been like 23, so younger than I am now in Moonstruck. And like these people fuck, and you know it. And there's so many movies where the energy is just that these people fuck. But now we're told that, like, oh, you fucking, like, Pepper Potts and Tony Stark are, like, the most in love people in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
First of all, they have a terrible relationship.
They
They're very Joker Harley Quinn vibes to me. Like,
they have a horrible
there's
fucking
nothing
relationship.
healthy about your
But,
relationship.
like, things like that where they're like, oh, they're so in love. And it's just because they tell you that these characters are supposed to be the most in love. There is no chemistry between these people.
There's no vibe whatsoever between those two characters.
But like, again, like, older movies where people weren't as, like, you know, jacked and toned as they are now, I'm like, oh, yeah, like, this guy fucks. Whereas now I'm just like, they say that, like, this person is supposed to, like, you know, be, like, you know, taking all these ladies to bed and, like, you know, seducing everybody. But it's just because they say that, like, this character is like that.
There's a lot of that in modern film where it's just announced that these are the facts. We're not going to back it up with anything.
Here, you know what? I come back to this so often because it's so correct. I am pulling this up right now and shouting out this essay because everybody needs to read it. Everyone who has even a passing interest in media needs to read it.
Okay.
Give me
While you do that,
one moment here.
Let's see. Yeah, like, I didn't understand Athena's purpose in this movie, like we said, other than to serve as a love interest, and they have no chemistry whatsoever. And the actors didn't have any chemistry either.
Okay. Everyone go search this. It is Everyone is Beautiful and No One is Horny, and then the subtitle is Modern Action and Superhero Films Fetishize the Body Even as They Desexualize It by R.S. Benedict. And the reason that I got there from the Starship Troopers thing is that you have all these, like, you know, super attractive, like, men and women showering together, but the only thing they're talking about is war.
And I'll be honest, as someone who has served, when you're showering together, the one thing you're not doing is talking.
Yeah.
You're showering.
You're showering
to get ready for whatever the next. Either it's because you just did a 10-mile trek and now you're getting cleaned up, you know, and it's go to chow at dinner time, or it's the morning and you're getting ready to go do something, or
yeah. And the
whatever.
only thing that there's not, like, is all these, like, conventionally attractive, like, muscular, hot people. They're all showering together. Not a single person does all they're talking about is state-sanctioned violence.
Just one thing I'd like to see, now that I'm thinking about it in Starship Troopers, is I'd like one of the dudes to look at one of the other dudes and say, hey, nice crank. That's it. Just that line.
Okay,
If
why?
that happened in a cut out, like a blooper, and that exists somewhere, I want it bad.
Okay, totally off topic. Why do men have all the most fun euphemisms for masturbation?
I mean, fun, choking the chicken, beating your meat.
That I love. Cranking your chain. I fucking love that. That's so
It's
funny.
still so violent. Crank is such an aggressive word. You understand?
Yeah.
It's all violence.
Well, I mean, you do just kind of slap it around a little bit, right?
Yeah, that's how dicks work. I just do this. That's why this is a dance move when you're out on the floor.
But no, oh my god, so many of them make me laugh. Again, like beating your meat, cranking your chain. I don't know why. I just find so much more humor in them.
Oh, what's that? Flogging the bishop.
Holy fuck, I've never heard that in my life.
I learned that one from... Is that in Idle Hands? That might be in Idle Hands.
Oh. Every time when my sister and I both used to, like, live at home when we weren't at school, every time my mom, like, you know, sometimes when you make chicken cutlets, you have to use a meat mallet on them. So my sister would always be like, oh, you're gonna go beat your meat?
Also, meat mallet is just a nice euphemism for penis.
This I hate. The fucking, like, breeding incentives thing we have going on here. Blech. Just sort of enforcing that, like, if you're not fighting, your purpose is to, like, produce children.
Again, I'm not going to knock them on that because in a post-apocalyptic world,
And, like,
they're
yeah,
actually doing a very great service by providing
probably.
children.
And this is also just as a person who, like, I don't like kids. I am
Yeah.
never having them. I would be a horrible parent. Having to be that unselfish, and maybe this makes me sound like a horrible person, but I'm far too selfish to ever be a parent. I would be horrible at it.
Yeah, it's hard.
I am too selfish. I am too vain. These are all things I know about myself that maybe are not the best things about myself, but I
There's
know them,
nothing
and I
wrong with
would
that,
not
yeah.
inflict that on a child.
Knowing that and making the decision not to inflict that on a child is a mature thing to do. There's nothing wrong with that. And people are going to tell you, you'll change your mind later in life. And you
No.
know what? You might. And you know what? It's not because they said it, and it's not because of any natural biological instinct.
I gotta say, the thing is, though,
just because things
when,
change.
even when I was, like, 7, I hated, like, playing house. And anytime, like, someone was like, oh, like, you know, we're gonna, like, play, like, anytime that was a thing, I was always like, I'm not the mom. I am not the mom.
Speaking of playing house, that fucking soup, was that just like chili with a single hot dog floating in it?
Yeah, the, like, fucking real meat. Yeah, the weird car, the weird tube baby ads.
Okay.
We're having real meat tonight. Breeding incentives. This future really kind of sucks.
It's not unrealistic, but yes, it sucks. The car, though, still looks better than a Cybertruck.
Yes, it does. Fuck Elon Musk.
I mean, yeah, obviously. Oh, this is so fucked up when they're doing the training scene here, and they're like, you just gotta climb to the top.
Yeah, I
But
gotta say,
then they start kicking each other, and it's shaking.
this
and
is so.
It's sabotage.
Here's the thing: they did call it a rattle room, which, like, okay, and they're like, yeah, there's gonna be like unexpected stuff because you know you're preparing for situation,
Like
like,
the one that, like, burns her hand.
and that's fucked up. But it's like, okay, yeah, you have to prepare for situations where these unexpected, deeply uncomfortable things are gonna happen, like your fucking cockpit overheats or whatever,
Right.
something shorts out, like you're gonna have to deal with it
You
on
gotta
the
find a way
fly.
to climb around, and
But this is so sexual, by the way.
well, you just wanted more sexualization. Now
Here's
you
the
want to
thing.
take away sexualization?
I want it done well, and I suppose it kind of is unfair to be like every single, like, if something doesn't land, that's one thing, but this, it feels, it's not, it is sexualization, but it is so specific to Athena in that, like, here's a great excuse to get a bunch of upskirt shots,
I mean,
or quote unquote, because she's wearing a jumpsuit, but
it would have been better if she was wearing a skirt, but yeah.
nasty. But like that, it
Nasty.
focuses on her specifically. If it was like, here's everyone's ass, I'm like, hell yeah, make it weird and horny.
Yeah, there's like 7 of them, and you see vaguely the other guys climbing, and then it's just like kind of follows her butt.
yeah, like the whole time.
Except for the part where the two that look alike and confuse me, the one man and her,
Yeah.
are climbing up against each other. He kicks her. That's
And
the only
also,
time it's not on her butt.
What's going on with this whole, like, the braids thing?
The weird,
Yeah.
like, curly Q braid in the back? I don't know what that is.
Like how all of, although I wonder if that's supposed to be like, oh, this is like the fucking tube baby thing.
We
Because they all
this
have
standard
them.
haircut.
Yeah.
We
Odd.
are. Also, you would think they would have figured out cloning. I mean,
Yeah.
we understand cloning now.
And this is the other thing that pisses me off. Of course he'll fucking fight now to stop a girl from doing it.
That's what I was saying. If they just reverse this a little bit, there's a lot of times in movies where if you just reverse a couple of scenes when the man is trying to save the woman and stuff like that, it's not only less misogynistic, it's significantly better film.
Yeah. Ridiculousness. Also, just the tossing around slurs that happens, like, very shortly after this, I was just like, ooh, okay.
Which slur do they toss around?
Referring to the Japanese doctor.
Oh my god.
I was just like, huh?
Yeah, it's just like out of nowhere.
Like, okay. Guess that's what we're doing. Not nuts about it.
Dr. Matsumoto.
Yeah.
Also, it was so incredibly
fact that-
obvious who the spy was.
It was so incredibly obvious. Although I gotta say, the fact that, like, one, after referring to him as that, that the next shot immediately implies that he is sus. Racist.
Yeah, that's probably got some World War II Pearl Harbor vibes to it there, too.
Mm-hmm.
Let's make him the bad guy.
Yeah, even though he's not.
Yeah, he's not. No, it's
But
Texas.
let's-
Which, again, not nice, but not inaccurate. Texas is the bad guy. We don't have listeners in Texas. It's okay. Egging the nog?
We were riffing on just euphemisms for beating off.
Ooh, I like that.
Stirring the macaroni.
I'm sorry, running in flip-flops?
It's because the sound.
Oh, yeah. So...
Some sound effects for you.
Yeah, clip that.
I have excellent masturbation noises.
Clip that.
We need something to automatically make clips.
We need a dump button that instead of dumping, just clips whatever just happened. It goes back 10 seconds that we can then just quickly edit
Instead
it
of
out.
an instant replay.
Yeah.
Just add that right to the
I will
board.
regret doing it, but I think I can make that happen.
And, I'll probably regret it, too, because I'll say something stupid.
You
And then
say some stuff, yeah.
And then it'll be immortalized. But, that is the beauty of the art form.
Hey, look, it's a girl. She's watching your box.
Yeah. Fuck off.
And then she just walks away. So
Fuck
what was
off.
the point in standing there?
Yeah, it's all such bullshit.
Most emotion she shows the whole movie.
Yeah.
Is mad that he's boxing.
Yeah. Also, I gotta say, with the whole thing with, I'm getting kind of ahead of myself, but who cares? With, Tex being the leak or whatever. One, insanely pathetic struggle for that pistol.
Yeah,
Try. Your lives are on the line.
neither of them seems to be putting in much effort.
Yeah, they do not give a fuck.
The Dr. Matsumoto, just kind of oh no, my hand is turned. And Tex just kind of slapping at it and takes it. And it's like, you could get shot.
The fight
It's
choreography in this
pointed at
movie
you.
sucks.
It's okay in the training scene, in the first training scene, for the time frame it was. They didn't really put a lot of effort in. Show me a martial arts movie that wasn't choreographed by Bruce Lee that had good fight choreography,
Point taken.
with actual martial arts like they're doing. Which, by the way, totally wasted because the robots aren't that agile.
Yeah. Which,
Why are you training like that?
Again, I kind of get it because most technology at the time that this was made really wasn't particularly agile. So they're just extrapolating, being like, oh, okay, we have this same sort of handicap to it, but it's still bigger and more powerful.
Right. Well, they go with big, strong, better.
Yeah.
Which is not really true in most cases.
But, okay. I'll let them have it. Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
But,
it's not like it gets any better later on with modern, giant robot movies. They're still slow and cumbersome and not very agile.
And that's another, I keep fucking coming back to this because it's my one reference point. It's the only other mech thing I've ever seen. I was never really a Transformers kid.
That's what this is based on.
We have a comment.
Yeah, when you get a moment. That is actually accurate. A giant mech like that would appear to be moving slow to us because of relativity.
Well, I get that.
Yeah.
I get that, but the flexibility and stuff, the fact that they can, only you don't ever see them trying to do things more agile. I get that it would appear slower. That's fair. Yeah. That is very fair.
The sort of the extrapolation too of
fucking Sally Science over here.
I love it, of the available technology at the time. I keep fucking coming back to this because it's the one mech thing I know. Evangelion, it still has a plug, for example. Shit still has to be plugged in.
So did this. Yeah, you saw the legs that when he first comes up, it unplugs from.
But
legs.
it's just it's bigger. It's more powerful. It's maybe it's not. Oh, it has to be plugged into a generator. It has to be plugged into this fancy nuclear power thing. So I will give a lot of things a pass because who the hell knows what's coming.
That's fair. I mean, I'm just saying though, with a giant robot, it doesn't have to have the exact joints we have. It can have a serious just ball joint. And so if I stick my leg like this, it should be able to stick its leg out like this.
You can do a lot of shit. There's so much room to play around with.
Although, actually, now that I think about it, they're probably thinking of the logistics of balance. I can balance on one foot with another foot up like this.
Because...
Can a 40,000-ton robot do it?
And also, I do wonder if they limit the quote-unquote range of motion.
This little slap fight.
This is terrible.
He punches him with the back of the gun, which actually would be a very effective way after you've gotten it to stop them from getting it back.
Oh yeah, pistol whipping somebody? That
right
would
in the eye,
that would
too.
really hurt.
That bruised way too fast.
Oh, 100%.
He's got a purple bruise that's like a week
No,
old.
that should be like red.
Yeah.
But I do wonder if some of the limitations on the robots that we see here are kind of like, it's limited by human range of motion, because again, like, if you want it to be very intuitive, not like, oh, I have to click this button to do this crazy maneuver or whatever.
Right.
No, I move my arm, it moves its arm.
Right.
So like, they could be part of it.
I guess.
I don't know. If you feel like being charitable, that
I'll
could
allow
explain
it.
some of it.
I'll allow it for now.
But also just it's like 2040 here.
Did they tell you the year? Is it 2040?
They said like 50 years after like nuclear,
Okay.
Armageddon.
Okay.
And if we're assuming that
They were thinking the Cold War would come to a head.
yeah, the Cold War
Yeah.
had reached a very hot conclusion,
Then yeah, that would be about.
then it would be
2040.
like 2040 or so. He expects to just get away with murder?
Yeah, like this is a very easy to solve crime
Like
by today's standards, by
forensic-
1989 standards.
Forensic technology hasn't in this world where we have giant fucking robots and these sort of like, again, extrapolating from like the very earliest of cell phones, where we have these phones that have like a video component to them.
You know, like literally that camera that's pointed into the room.
Yeah. Like,
Or the one that was turned on.
you're just assuming that no one saw that?
Yeah.
What? So,
Oy, oy, oy. I don't know
Yikes.
if you had read up on this when you were doing any research or while you were watching it, but they had planned to do a sequel. It was going to have Alexander
God.
come back, Achilles come back, and Stuart Gordon was going to direct. The plot was going to be that Alexander and Achilles joined forces to fight off an alien invasion.
that's really
That
giving
sounds
Evangelion.
fucking awesome.
That does sound kind of fun.
But it sounds like Pacific Rim, but actually no, it sounds more like Atlantic Rim, which is the what is that? Asylum Films, A24 Films, whatever the knockoff.
Asylum, yeah, I
Asylum Films knockoff.
Sure.
Like they do Transmorphers. Are you not familiar with Asylum Films?
No.
Everything is like, it's not copyright infringement because I'm not touching you.
Okay. Noted.
Yeah.
But yeah, also just, yeah, we've got some assault thrown in. That's really cute.
I don't understand okay, so she sedates him, right?
Yeah, and he fights it for a long ass time.
A long time.
Which, like,
That's not how sedation works.
it's not how sedation works. Again, I'll maybe kind of give them a pass. It's like, oh, he's in peak physical condition or whatever.
And he's
It's
got
a-
a high adrenaline.
Yeah, it's an adrenaline rush. Like, yeah, if you are in an insane situation, you're probably not going to behave like you would in an OR, for example, where they're like, okay, night night.
Beep boop. Yeah, and also that's directly intravenous versus this being just shot roughly towards
Yeah,
the
like
spine.
gorilla. But like, yeah.
But see, he's already like a little sloppy, and then immediately when he needs to fight her, though,
Yeah, it's kind of bullshit.
look, he's on the ground.
Yeah.
It's working. It only stops working because it's convenient, so that he can sort of almost assault her.
Yeah, which, like, he deserved the cock shot that he got.
Oh yeah, and the
first
knee to
of
the
all.
head.
Oh, God, absolutely. He
And
deserved,
he tried to turn that into something it for sure wasn't.
he deserved even more than that. Which, again, is why it pisses me off so much. They're like, okay, at the end they kiss, like, this relationship that we took no time to develop whatsoever.
He's seen her a half a dozen times, basically made fun of her every time.
Also tried to assault her.
Yep. Well, okay, so I hate to play the devil's advocate here. He does set up that assault by saying, "What do you think I'm doing all this for?" So they do develop his side of the relationship.
But even then...
I'm not defending what he does, where he just goes for the kiss,
Gross.
but because that's the ick for sure. But like, this whole thing where he just jumps on her,
Yeah, gross. Ew.
just pin your arms down, and don't you know I love you?
Blech. No, I don't.
She's showing
You-
nothing back.
You've been a fucking piece of shit to me
The
this
entire
time.
movie.
Of course I don't.
And now the one chance I have to prove myself to you and everyone else, you're trying to take it away from me.
Yeah.
Because she was announced as the
Yeah.
competitor, and that's when he came out of retirement. Horseshit, my man.
Men.
If he just stayed retired, it wouldn't have been as bad.
Yeah. It really wouldn't.
Actually, that movie's still better. If he just stays retired, then when she gets almost beaten, he runs out and saves her, then better
Fine.
movie.
All right.
Better
I'll take
movie.
it. It's just... I gotta say, though, very smart move for her to knock him out and then trap him without comms. Like, smash the
She took out the TV phone thing. She smashed the
sort of lock
yeah
to
the,
his room.
the microwave door. She opened the microwave door and pulled out all the parts. That was clearly a microwave oven. There's no buttons on it. It's just a silver rectangle with a black glass screen in it.
Hey, you gotta work with what you got. If you look at, like, old, like, Doctor Who episodes and look at, like, the TARDIS control.
I mean, she has a very different build than him.
Yeah, clearly.
Her gait is different.
Again, I think it's so funny.
Her vagina is bigger.
I just think it's so funny. It's the ass slap that gives her away.
Right?
Which, like, that's BS.
Not showing up early with your blast visor down, and just being a very visible, different person.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
So much room for activities.
There's so much room for activities. I gotta say, also, the final fight kind of sucks.
It's anticlimactic.
It's very anticlimactic.
And the worst part is they introduce the fact that Alexander now has this, like, four-legged robot.
Yeah.
And then that doesn't really come up at all. Yeah. Except for, like, at one point he, like, rears up on his back legs and he's got the other ones up like this.
Which,
and
again, like, cool.
Yeah.
Effort was very clearly put into that.
But then immediately...
As a lover of practical effects...
Flies away.
I respect it.
Just flies away.
Yeah, we're just fucking in space now?
Now we're just going to go battle in space.
Pardon?
Which is silent. And I will give them credit for that.
Yeah.
In space, no one can
hear
hear
you
you robot fight.
But yeah, no, you can't fucking rob the man of his victory. I love it. Zero effort put into the building of any sort of relationship between, like, Achilles and Athena. They're just like, yeah, okay, we're fucking in love now. Stupid.
There's barely any build of the relationships with any of these people.
No, it's all just sort of taken as read.
Tex and him have a tenuous relationship based on the fact that Tex is his coach because he has completed his 10 mandatory missions.
Yeah.
But even that, they don't have a whole lot of chemistry.
And this is where I start getting, like, the final fight is where I start getting really mad about the Russia bad thing. Because, like, okay, he wins, technically. Or, like, whatever the sort of America stand-in is here, whatever they fucking call it. You won. Yes, it was on a technicality, but you won. And if you're, as they have said, fighting over the fate of Alaska, where people live, take the fucking victory. Take the political gain.
Just walk away.
That you would get from this. But no. One, he won't do that, which, like, toxic masculinity, you absolutely fucking hate to see it. But then, even though he was about to win, like, or, like, there was another thing where it's like, oh, we're, like, oh, because you did this, we'll have to cede to these guys. The Russians. He's about to also win on a technicality, but of course, the Red, the Ruski, he's so evil that he has to ruin his own victory because he can't help his bloodlust.
Which is really interesting.
He just has to kill people.
What's really interesting about that is the middle scene where Achilles is drunk and Alexander is saying that he won't fist fight him in the bar. Even if he was sober, he wouldn't.
Yeah.
He doesn't fight people. He fights for a cause or something. He says something like that, and then he goes, "What do you fight for?" It's like, wait a minute. Did you just make yourself sound like the moral, like, better person? You murdered somebody in the opening scene for no reason.
The fucking evil Red, he's just so bloodthirsty that he has to ruin his own victory by giving in to the urge to kill another person. Like,
I mean, I get that.
Come on, man.
Who hasn't felt the need to go on a bloodthirsty rampage?
We all have to repress that in
His
our own
remote control
ways.
truck here. I love that the remote control truck has, like, a 4-foot antenna.
Yeah, exactly. Again,
like,
just extrapolating from
they were
what was
thinking that
at
would
the
be what
time.
you would need. Yeah, you would need something like that.
Because, like, okay, yeah, we can get a better signal.
Right.
But it'll still, like, it'll be more powerful, it'll be easier to use, but it'll still be the same thing.
Which never occurred to them that we would not need that at all.
Yeah. Which, again, I will never fault an incorrect extrapolation of whatever technology was available at the time, because like it's the sort of like, oh, think of a new color thing. Like, how the fuck do you know?
Yeah.
Like, what's gonna be next?
Right. I like the realism on the helmets. They're very thickly padded, you know.
Yeah, that does make sense to me. But yeah. Also, I do just love in the end, I'm going tank mode.
Oh, yeah.
That just made me laugh.
So stupid.
Oh, and here's another thing. Here's another thing that pissed me off. When, you know, fucking evil Russian's losing, he's like, goes, kurva? That's not Russian.
Yeah, you're the one who says he's Russian. He never says he's Russian.
Like, it's supposed to be. Like, I would assume that it's supposed to be like...
I mean, it's obvious, but
yeah,
I'm
it's
just...
extremely obvious. But, like...
Like devil's advocate here.
But here's the thing. That's bitch in Polish.
See? So he's Polish.
Poland was never part of the Soviet Union.
Okay. He's not part of the Soviet Union either. You made it the Soviet Union.
I know, but...
They're not even red. They're
it's
yellow.
It's so obvious,
They're
though.
yellow and black.
It's so
They're bumblebees.
obvious.
I don't see a single sickle or hammer on them.
You know what I mean, though.
I mean, I know what they're going for. Absolutely. I don't know what that guy's nationality is. I wonder if he is just Polish.
What, the actor?
Yeah.
No, he's fucking Canadian-German.
Oh, that's right. You said that. You looked them up, yeah.
But yeah, if you're already being so ham-fisted...
Oh, I love her just killing people so that she can go have this fight,
yeah, by the way. But, like, they're already being so ham-fisted with their sort of, like, with the, you know, the Cold War allegory that's happening here.
Yeah.
At least have the man say suka. Like, get it right. If you're really gonna be this over-the-top and blatant with it...
Suka, please.
Very funny.
I do what I can.
There's like 5 different ways to say the F word in Russian. It's a beautiful language.
Okay, nice.
Love it. Also an extremely beautiful language for other reasons. I took Russian in college and I studied abroad in St. Petersburg. That's where my sort of soft spot for the language, culture, etc. comes in.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. And that's why you're so quick to defend the Soviet Union in this movie. I gotcha. I have
we'll
ulterior motive to make sure to pick all Soviets bad movies from now on, just to see you get riled up.
Next episode, Red Dawn.
Come on, man. I got friends in Moscow who are going to be mad at me.
I didn't make the movie. We're just watching it.
I'm sorry, Dasha. I will say, the mech exploding at the end, I'm like, that's probably half the budget.
I'm sure they put a lot of money into... Well, no, because they're just miniatures. I mean,
that was a pretty... Even for a miniature,
it was a nice explosion.
It did go boom.
Sure.
Also, not the fucking cock saw.
First of all, patent pending cocksaw.
Regrettable Reviews branded.
Cocksaw Jim Duggan. Oh my god.
I thought the ending of this was so just like stupid and anticlimactic. I'm not gonna lie to you. Just this like that it comes out of like one true hand-to-hand like real men, and it's fucking horrible. Terrible.
Good, yeah.
No,
fighting,
it's terrible fighting, and then it's just like, oh, we can live, and then it ends.
I like how
What the
Alexander
fuck?
just gives up his bloodlust because he's like, oh yeah, all right. You said a word that made me feel better, so
Yeah.
we're good.
What the fuck? So, yeah, my literal final note just says shitty Cold War Evangelion.
That's not inaccurate, but this paved the way for a lot of other things.
Yeah, it did.
We
and
wouldn't have Pacific Rim.
And that's
if
the
we
thing.
didn't have
I
this.
do see it, and like as much as I have been dunking on this for most of this entire episode, like I don't think that there's no value here. Like that's definitely not my final take.
My takeaway from this is I love what it did for cinema. I don't love it.
Yeah, it
That 5.4 I see on IMDb.
it falls into a lot of really. Not falls into, I suppose the word I'm looking for is pitfalls. It runs into so many very common pitfalls, and also like I am also watching this with the benefit of having seen some things that this inspired first,
Yeah.
where I'm just like, yeah, okay, like, we know.
Yeah. It's been done way better than this.
And not
Later,
even just
but-
and not even just necessarily like, you know, so many movies with like the Cold War allegories, for example. Like, it had been done, it's been done afterwards. I get it.
Yeah, like, there's more conflicts we can focus on.
Yeah.
To put it into perspective, making Cold War movies today would be like making Revolutionary War movies in the 50s.
Yeah.
It's like, we're past it. Let's move on.
We know. And it's not that like
I meant
nothing
Civil War, not Revolutionary War.
and it's not that
Don't
nothing
call me
that
on
looks back towards things like that is bad. Like, there's so many things, like Queen's Gambit, for example. Like, Cold War tensions definitely, like, they play a huge part in that story, and it was made in what, like 2019 or some shit?
Yeah.
But like, it's a really good series. I liked it quite a bit. So like, it's not that nothing that looks back at these old tensions can be good. It's just that like, you have to, there's so much pressure to do it well when you are at the tail end of something, because we've seen it already. And again, I am watching this here in 2024, having seen a shit ton of other stuff that relies on, like, you know, oh, this is like the hot cultural problem. Like, I've already seen it, and I've seen it done better.
Can I just say that they had one new weapon for this fight, and it was the blinding flare thing, the magnesium flare, and it was supposed to blind him for up to 30 seconds, and it was all of 3 seconds. And then he just leapt on her and tore her to pieces. And then she uses the damn chainsaw, not the normal chainsaw, not motorized chainsaw.
Yeah.
Real chainsaw is just a chain that you go like this with. Anyway, she uses that to cut his arm off. And I'm like, why didn't you do that from the beginning?
Yeah. What?
Also, the slow-mo piston punch thing.
Yeah, it's really sad.
It would jar her, for sure, but that's not going to really hurt her much.
And here's the thing. I can imagine, like, perhaps in a world where where you weren't working on such a sort of cash-strapped budget for, like, this is, I would definitely say, a sort of B movie. Like, if you had
For
it
sure.
being, like, yeah,
And you saw, like, the chest starting to cave in.
yeah,
and
like,
and
that'll
things were
fuck
going
you
on.
up.
But why isn't she, like, strapped in to the, you know, like, she's flailing around so much because of this. Why are you not, like, the little harness thing is just around here.
Which, again, I do wonder if that's to be like, oh, you have full range of motion for the robot arms. But again, it would come with, like, actually, technologically speaking, yes, maybe that's what you would need to be able to, like, you know, have full, like, rotator cuff motion on a robot like that, where it is, like, a sort of haptic feedback thing, where it's like, you move, it moves. But holy shit, that has some huge drawbacks that, like, you should be addressing if you're truly thinking out the world that you're creating.
I like that he waits for their ruling to then disregard their ruling.
Yeah, what the
He
fuck
did
was
that in the
about?
first scene, too. He goes, oh, yeah, so I think I won. And they're like, yep, you definitely won. And then he's like, cool, I'm going to kill that guy. Same thing here.
Which, again, should, like, immediate disqualification. Which, again, you can still use it as a plot point. The new guy won't play by the rules, so they pull out of retirement the even bigger, scarier Soviet guy with even more wins under his belt.
Yeah, or, like, they never really explain how these people get selected or whatever. They just say everybody's got to do 10 or whatever.
Yeah.
But who? Because, like, his brother clearly didn't. Achilles' brother?
Like, do you sign up for this? Are you, like...
Is it how you, like, get out of something or
how
you
you
get paid?
perform as a cadet in whatever XYZ? Who the fuck knows?
I like the little shoulder straps.
Yeah,
on the
that would
referees.
do nothing. Yeah, this was just...
I mean, I love the costuming. The costuming was
costuming-
great.
For, like, the futuristic, like, street clothes, I really don't
Oh,
love it.
no. Yeah.
But, like, the
jocks themselves.
Yeah, I believe it. Everything feels very, like impact resistant.
If
Like,
you
I
look
see,
at,
like
astronauts
I see, like,
training.
Yeah, like, I see, like, a motorcycle helmet, for example, that would protect you from, like, getting smacked around on the road. Like, yeah, you would absolutely need something like that if you were piloting a giant robot that was getting thrashed around.
Right.
So,
and,
like,
the body armor with all the sensors probably to help
Yeah.
them, you know, for biometrics and haptic feedback. And,
that I'll definitely buy. I will 100%.
and look,
give
she's
them that.
unconscious and he's over here undressing her.
Yeah. You hate to see it. And also, gross.
Straight up Snow White kissed her while she was or Sleeping Beauty kissed her while she was sleeping.
Oh no, it's supposed to be that she initiated.
Yeah,
she,
the
like-
unconscious lady.
Because she, like, yoinks his neck.
Yeah, but like,
like-
I don't know. Maybe she was trying to pull him down to talk to her.
I don't know about that.
Maybe he read into that a little bit.
Probably. Yeah, and then this. He's so... the evil communist. He won't even take the win because his bloodlust is so...
Oh, I forgot he kills the referees.
Or he tries to.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
What a dildo.
Mm-hmm. Dildo's a great insult because it's like, I would call you a dick, but you're not even real enough for that.
Exactly. That's the purpose of that. Yeah, so what would you rate this movie? You know, thinking both about watching it as a film and would you want to rewatch it, but also, do you think it did something for the genre?
Rewatch... What are we rating out of? Is this Letterboxd, or do we have a bigger scale? Because Letterboxd is 5 stars.
Oh, no, we're 10.
10, okay. Probably a 4
For rewatchability?
for rewatchability, absolutely.
Yeah, okay. I could see that. You didn't enjoy it very much. Yeah.
Doing interesting things, I would probably go a little closer to a 5 or a 6. And maybe I am being, again, a tad unfair because I've seen things that were probably inspired by this that do it better, but I chronologically saw them first in my own personal timeline.
It's happened to me. I don't blame you for that.
So...
I dislike the source material because I saw the newer thing first, and I hate it. I hate that it happens, but it does.
Yeah,
You're not far off. I would have gone 5 for rewatchability, which is I would rewatch it, not often. Usually only if there's a reason, this or to show it to somebody. I don't think my wife has seen it. I'm gonna make her watch it at some point. My son would probably love it just because there's giant robots, but they're not in much of the movie. So
And here's the thing, channeling my sort of inner, 5-year-old boy. Giant robots are cool as fuck. I will again, that's one of the things I liked the most about this.
Yeah.
Like, those visuals are cool, and as a massive appreciator of practical effects, even if they do, turn out a little janky in hindsight, it's the fact that it was, it was handcrafted. People put effort into it.
Yeah,
I love that.
This carries a lot of weight for me, both as a movie and what it does for the industry because of how much of it is done.
Yeah.
By actual proper costuming and models and miniatures and, practical effects over just cheaping out with CGI.
Yeah.
I think it saved us from a whole generation of CGI even earlier and even worse.
Yeah.
So like I said, you want 4, 6, I'd probably go 5, 6.
Okay.
5 for the movie because I would rewatch it and I wouldn't hate it. And 6 for what it does because of those things. I mean, the attention to detail in those cockpits.
You know what? I like that as a format. Rewatchability versus what it actually does for science fiction as a genre, because we're still kind of we don't necessarily have our reoccurring segments yet. I would like to make a motion for that. I think that is a good way to
for the two rating system.
I think that is a good way to look at it.
Yeah. We did that. I've done that a couple times before I was producing for Big Dumb Monsters. I was a guest, and we did The Wolfman, and I can't rate it unless I'm allowed to do a 2 system.
Well, that's the thing. Brooks and I have talked about things like that.
It's not good.
Brooks and I have talked about things like that on the podcast before, as in, one of the things we did recently was our, month of movies that was, actually, we're still in it. Next one this Thursday. But, sort of curated by Kyle. He gave us a list of movies in a bunch of different categories. We wound up watching this one that was really fucking depressing.
Oh.
But it was this movie called Tyrannosaur by Patty Considine. But
sounds awesome, but you said it's depressing, so now I have questions.
But I've thought about it every single fucking day since. It's a fucking gut punch, but it's a fantastic piece of filmmaking.
Right, yeah. So you have to think of them as 2 different things.
Yeah.
Do I like this movie because I want to watch it? Or do I like this movie because
it's it made me think, it made me feel something.
Or it did something for the industry.
Yeah. So I like the 2 rating system. I think we should stick with that.
I generally do, because I don't ever find that I could properly rate a movie without it. Even my favorite movies, I have to admit.
I think there's a couple tiny exceptions.
Some things might be 10-10, some things might be 2-2, but a lot of them are going to be
10-10, for example, The Rocky Horror Picture Show. 10 for rewatchability and 10 for what it fucking did.
See, that's a good example of a
10-10.
Iconic. Yeah, that's a good 10-10.
Every time I have gone to the Rocky Horror Picture Show, in real life, I always go as Dr. Frankenfurter.
My dad used to do that.
Fuck yeah. Love that shit.
I've never had the pleasure.
Oh my god, they do it at the Palace every October.
Nice.
You should do that. It's so fucking fun.
I mean, it's technically science fiction, so we could for sure
If we
go
want
see
to
it
talk
at the
about the
Palace,
Rocky Horror Picture
and
Show.
then come to an after wrap-up
my
episode
God.
on Rocky Horror Picture Show where we both
Yes.
happen to be dressed as
Yes.
Frankenfurter.
Yes.
Actually, you
I
can do
will-
that. I'll be Columbia.
Oh my god, I love it. Do a little flippy flip, little gender bend. I love it. Shout out to the one guy I knew in high school who was like comfortable enough with himself to let me and the rest of my friend group have him go as Janet in drag to a Rocky Horror Picture Show.
That's awesome.
Thanks, Connor.
Yeah, no, I don't have any problem with that. I mean, just in April, just last month, we had a carnival theme for JordanCon. And I borrowed a dress so I could be a bearded lady.
Oh my god. Can I do your makeup
Absolutely.
for the Rocky Horror? Oh my
Yeah.
god, we have to do this now.
That's absolutely an episode we can do. Whenever it comes to the Palace, we'll go do it, and we'll go see it live, and
Hell
then come
yes.
back and talk about. We'll put the movie on. We'll talk about the movie
Oh my
versus
God,
the live
incredible.
performance
Incredible.
in costume.
Coming soon to a fucking podcast near
We're
you.
either going to gain or lose some viewers based on this.
Okay, and you know what? I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
Hell yes.
I ain't here to prove nothing to no one.
Nope. And that's another thing. Along the lines of like make your art for 30 freaks on the internet. I think the best example of doing things for yourself, David Lynch. He is making the
I
movies
actually
that
don't know a lot of Lynch movies.
I am such a David Lynch girly. I will never shut up about that man, and I understand why so many people find so much of his work fucking off-putting, but like I love it. And he is making that shit for himself.
And that's really what they should be doing.
And it just so happens that like so many other people see it and are like, yeah.
Yeah, on the flip side of that, you have like Tarantino, who makes the films absolutely for himself, but I just don't like them. I don't like his movies usually.
Here's the thing. I enjoyed Pulp Fiction. That was a very fun movie.
That one was good.
Love that. Will rewatch it probably multiple times in my life. I
Django was
absolutely
good.
enjoyed it.
Django
I
was
would
good.
like to see Django. And frankly, any movie that says it's cool and good and fun to kill Nazis
Oh, Inglourious Bastards. Yeah,
is
I mean,
fucking fine by me, brother.
yeah,
However, Quentin Tarantino himself can get fucked.
yeah.
I never want to hear another word that man has to say, especially after he watched Fire Walk with Me, and was like, "Oh, David Lynch is so far up his own ass." It's like, no, that's projecting. You're talking about you.
He may not be wrong, but he's also worse about it than
Yeah.
Not knowing a lot about David Lynch, I can tell you, Quentin Tarantino is so much farther up his own ass.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I never want to hear another word that man has to say. And also, he inserts himself into his own movies so that he can say the N-word with impunity.
Yep.
So
He was actually going to insert
shut
himself into Inglourious Bastards as the what the fuck is it? Brad Pitt's character?
I haven't seen the movie yet, but
Inglourious Bastards?
I have not.
Oh, okay. So at the end, Brad Pitt's character carves a swastika into the forehead of a Nazi. It's something they do throughout the film, right?
Nice.
And then he's looking down at the Nazi, and the camera is looking up as the Nazi. And so Brad Pitt's looking down like this, right straight at you through the camera, and he says, "This might be my best piece of work yet."
Nice.
Quentin Tarantino wanted it to be himself.
No, bad.
Talk about up your own ass.
Oh my god. Yeah, again. Any movie that says it's cool and good and fun to kill Nazis, hell yes. But Quentin Tarantino, shut up. No one wants to hear you speak anymore.
There are a wide swath of people who are very large fans of Tarantino. Probably mostly his films. I don't know so much about whether they're actually fans of Tarantino.
I mean, sure. Listen, I've never said that that my opinions are all correct. I will stand by them.
So while I was looking at this, I saw that Stuart Gordon, the other things he was famous for, that people would know would be Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Reanimator. Yeah,
the
no, he
fuck?
created Honey, I Shrunk the entire concept, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Okay, first of all,
The-
Rick Moranis, my beloved.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But my all-time favorite, so Reanimator, but my all-time favorite, Space Truckers. And if you haven't seen Space Truckers,
Space Truckers.
it's amazing.
Okay.
Charles Dance has a robot penis. It starts like a fucking chainsaw.
Oh my god, it's giving like... It's giving fucking... Oh god, come on, Bridget. What the fuck is it? Oh, it's Andrew Lloyd Webber. It's not Cats. It's Cats but Trains. What the fuck is it?
What the fuck? What the fuck is that?
I'm so serious. It's a real thing.
Yeah.
It's Cats but Trains. What the fuck is it? Oh my god.
Trains at the Winter
Starlight
Garden
Express. Oh
Okay.
my god, it's giving Starlight Express, but like even worse.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, none of the other people from this really, I looked at them. There's only
Yeah.
a few that had anything. A lot of them just had a ton of TV in the 70s.
Which, like, fair enough.
But there were 3 that I do want to touch on. And for very good reason.
Yeah.
Athena here. And
I feel like the
Marie
only, like,
Johnson.
the single person that I recognized was Jeffrey Combs, who, like...
I didn't even write him down as someone to talk
He
about.
wasn't even in it for all that long. He, like, had a couple short scenes, and that was literally it.
Yeah, a bunch of these people were on, like, Quincy, Emmy, Diagnosis Murder, all that stuff. But Anne Marie Johnson, who played Athena, was in 1995 on an episode of Murder, She Wrote! And we're just going to get it out of the way. So were, Michael Aldridge, who played Tex, was in Murder, She Wrote in 1992. And Mike Sod, who was the second prole. The proles are the
proletariat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't get that. I was like, what the fuck is a prole? Thank you. That makes so much more sense. The commoners who were betting on it. The second one was in 1995 in the exact same episode as Athena
There you
of
go.
Murder, She Wrote. Yeah, but like everybody else, it's just everything in the 70s they were in. Columbo, you know. That's not 70s, but like...
I know Jeffrey Combs did a shit ton of Star Trek.
Actually, who was it? One of them did a bunch of Star Trek.
Slay.
Oh, Achilles.
Oh.
He's in like a ton of different Star Trek stuff.
Huh.
Specifically, there's a character from Star Trek Renegades that he plays recurringly. It's like Rex Jordan or something.
I will have to bring that up to Brooks because
He's also
she
like-
is the Trekkie.
All of the alien nations.
Okay.
From the movies to the TV show to everything. In fact, it keeps playing on here every now and then on the little thing that Alienation clips there.
Yeah.
Paul Costello was Alexander the Dick. Once again, every TV show you could imagine. You have to wonder if people thought this was going to be their big break. It wasn't.
Yeah. But that really is kind of the bitch of one, the way that the industry kind of used to work, where it was like you go back and you see like these huge names in like one episode of the X-Files. Because like as soon as you got like a foot in the door, like, yeah, maybe it did, like, not that clearly nepotism was obviously a fucking thing for a very long time, but like
It's never not been.
it's never not been a thing, but there was sort of an era of, like, you know, in like the heyday of like cable TV, for example, like you had slightly more of a chance of like, okay, I booked this one episode, like things can go from there, because like, again, the X-Files has some fucking huge names in it when they were like 22 and
So-
like getting their first job in Hollywood.
In the early seasons, the X-Files gets a lot of cameos from people that hadn't quite made it yet. In the later seasons, the cameos come from people who are big, just making like a nod to the like, oh, I've also been on X-Files.
Yeah, but also, which like, so fair, because I fucking love the X-Files.
I had never seen it. I started watching through. I got through season 5. I started season 6, and it had the opening recap.
We talked about this.
Yeah.
Yes,
and
we
then
did.
I watched the movie, and now I'm most of the way through season 6. I got to finish it at some point.
Highly recommend. Also, Scully. Mommy?
I mean, yeah, mommy. Yeah.
Mommy?
Yeah. I'm kind of glad I didn't watch the X-Files as a child, or I would have had even more of a type.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure it's what made me bisexual.
Oh yeah, because I played the David Duchovny song for you, didn't I?
No.
Oh, I did that for my wife. Do you know the song?
I'm aware that he's in a band.
Oh no, it's a song about David Duchovny.
Okay, slay.
It's so good. I don't want to waste everyone's time with that song, or do I?
We could also just have a conversation.
We'll have a
about
conversation
this.
after. You know what? We're pretty much done here. We can wrap it up. But yeah, Robot Goths, inspired by Transformers, because there's no live action like giant robot
Yeah.
things going on. It did stuff. You
They
know?
did try, and for that, I respect them.
Right.
I respect anybody who puts genuine effort into their film.
What are we watching next?
Okay, I have 2 ideas. One, Repo, because
Oh, we talked about this.
I am a theater kid who can't sing.
Repo absolutely counts as sci-fi.
Or we can pick a Soviet sci-fi movie because I want to balance out the energy of Russia Bad right now.
Fine.
Which we don't
It's your
have
turn.
to.
It's your turn. We
Or-
can do your Soviet
or-
good movie.
Or I can put some of those names into a hat like we were talking
We've
about.
talked about doing the hat.
And if they happen, they happen.
Yeah, and I think we should just throw in names whenever we think of one. Just throw it in there.
I'm very here for that. So, having presented you with those 2 options, I'm going to let you pick.
I mean, I'd rather do Repo.
I can fucking do Repo. You want to do Repo?
I want to do Repo.
Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah.
Let's fucking do Repo. Oh my god.
There's another one that's not a 10-10, but is you only need one rating system because it's like a 7-7 or an 8-8.
Having not seen it?
Oh, you've never seen Repo?
No, it's been on my list for quite some time because I am a theater kid who can't sing.
Oh, it's fucking good. It's fucking good.
So I've heard.
All
and
right.
again, as a lover of the Rocky Horror Picture Show, come on.
Yeah. So we'll do Repo next time. See you guys in 2 weeks.
And I will actually have things written down to put into a hat. And frankly, I can fucking provide the hat because I have a cosplay closet.
So do I.
Love it.
I could bring a steampunk top hat.
Oh, nice. It's giving Papa Emeritus IV during Watcher in the Sky.
Nice. All right. Well, with that,
The Ghost movie is 1 month away.
we're all set. We don't have words of wisdom.
No,
things to
we
sign
have
out
none
with.
of those.
We don't. We'll have to come up with some sci-fi based words of wisdom.
Ooh, don't shake the egg. Don't touch it. Leave it alone.
Don't shake the egg. Leave the egg alone is a good piece of sci-fi advice. All
Whatever
right.
sort of creature egg you find,
We'll settle with that.
leave it alone.
Don't
Don't
touch
touch
the
it. Don't touch the egg.